Hey guys, and welcome to day 4. So go ahead and grab a folded up towel or blanket, grab your blocks if you have them, and we will get seated. So you can sit in a cross-legged position, sit up on that folded towel or blanket so your pelvis is just a little bit higher so you can have a nice long spine as you sit up. Go ahead and lift your shoulders up to your ears and roll them back. Inhale, reach your shoulders up to your ears and roll them back. So talking a little bit about today's practice. So as you may have noticed, yoga can sometimes be a very gentle, restorative practice, but it can also be very fiery, very challenging. Yoga can be an experience where you push yourself to your limit, where you experience personal growth and strength. And so today's practice is going to be a foundational strength practice, focusing on the strength of our core, our upper body as well. And not only strength, but also awareness. So having the ability to recruit, to turn on, and to turn off different muscle groups whenever they will serve us. So having this ability and having this foundational strength will help us find more ease in our practice, especially as we start more challenging yoga postures and transitions. And it will also help us to avoid injuries, such as a back injury or shoulder injury. So go ahead and inhale, reach your shoulders up towards your ears, and exhale, roll them down. We'll do one more of those. Inhale, reach your shoulders up to your ears, and exhale, roll them down. So because we're going to be putting a fair amount of weight through our hands, our arms today, we're going to get a really nice wrist warm-up. So go ahead and grab onto your, interlace your fingers, and go ahead and start making circles with your left hand, using your right hand. So taking your left wrist in one direction, making nice, big, slow circles, and then go ahead and switch directions. And now switching hands, so go ahead and start to circle around your right wrist with your left hand, really waking up all the different parts of the joints in your wrist. There's lots of little bones, little joints, so we want to get some nice movement. So go ahead and switch directions of those circles. And then go ahead and bring your hands to heart centers. So all 10 finger pads are pressed together. Elbows are out to the sides. Go ahead and press your hands together a little harder. And then start to point all 10 fingers forward and then all 10 fingers back towards your chest. Palms are still connected. Nothing is moving except for the hands and the wrists. And the next time your fingers are pointed towards you, go ahead and interlace your fingers and then press your hands forward. Straighten out your arms, pointing your palms towards the front of the room. And then inhale. Start to raise your arms towards the ceiling so the palms face towards the ceiling if this feels okay on your shoulders. And with an exhale, slowly release your hands and then roll forward onto your hands and knees. And put some padding underneath your knees, maybe that folded towel. We're going to be on our knees for a little bit here. So spreading the fingers wide, pressing the tops of the feet down. We're going to inhale, look forward in our cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, round. Inhale, look forward. And the next time we round, we're going to bring our right knee into our nose or our forehead. And keeping the knee bent, inhale, reach the right toes towards the ceiling and look up. Exhale, bring the right knee towards the forehead. One more here. Inhale, toes point towards the ceiling. Exhale, pull it in, really pushing the ground away with the hands, creating space for the heart. And then lower that leg down. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, push the ground away and pull the left knee into the chest. Inhale, lift the toes, keeping the foot pointed. Look up. Exhale, pull the left knee into the chest or into the forehead. Inhale, toes to ceiling. Exhale, pull it in. And go ahead and return to your hands and knees position. Taking just a second in child's pose if you'd like to take some weight off of the wrists. Letting the hips sink back towards the heels. Reach the hips towards the heels as you reach the hands forward. Trying to crawl the fingertips a little farther forward to feel a nice stretch underneath the armpits. All right, inhale, pull forward to hands and knees. So we're gonna go to bird dog pose. So for this, we'll start to crawl the right fingertips forward and start to walk the left leg back. So we're gonna lift up the right arm and the left leg, but really find length. Without letting your torso move, start to lift up the right arm and the left leg, reaching towards the front of the room with the right fingertips, like you're trying to shake someone's hand who's a little bit out of reach, and also reaching back with the left foot. Inhale, exhale here. Inhale. On the next exhale, we're gonna squeeze the right elbow into the left knee. Inhale, reach long, pushing the ground away with the left arm. Exhale, squeeze together. Inhale, reach long. Exhale, squeeze it in. Go ahead and place that hand and that leg down, taking a second to catch your breath if needed, and then starting to crawl the left hand forward and the right leg back. Really checking in with that right arm before you lift up, because it's that hand on the ground that's really doing the work. Making sure you're actively pushing the ground away with that right hand. And then lifting up the left arm and the right leg, creating length as if someone's playing tug of war with your left wrist and your right ankle. Inhale, exhale. And try to keep the back of the neck long by keeping the gaze down towards the front edge of your mat. And on your next exhale, squeeze the left elbow towards the right knee. Inhale, reach as long as you can. Push the ground away with the right hand. Exhale, squeeze together. Inhale, reach long. Exhale, squeeze together. And go ahead and put the hand down. Return to your hands and knees position. If at any time the pressure is too much on your wrist, if you're feeling discomfort, especially if there's any sharp pain, you need to find a way to modify. So going through a couple options here, whenever we're on our hands and knees or in a plank position, you can feel free to go down on your forearms, especially if you have blocks, because that'll give you a little extra height. Maybe taking some time to roll out the wrists. Another option, if the wrist pressure is uncomfortable, is rolling up the front of your mat a couple times and then putting your palms, putting the heels of your hands on that rolled up mat and letting your fingers down on the ground. That'll give you just a little extra space in the wrists. Otherwise, you can experiment with going on your fists, going on fingertips, whatever feels good. So from here, go ahead and tuck your toes under. So tuck all 10 toes under. And if you have tight feet, if you have any issues in your feet, then this might already feel like quite a stretch. Otherwise, start to push back a little bit. So walk your hands towards your knees and start to feel that stretch underneath your feet, making sure your toes are pointing forward. You can stay here, or maybe you come up and put your hands on your knees, finding a more vertical position. It's called screaming toe pose. So we want a stretch, but we don't want pain here. So find a place to stretch. So maybe you keep your hands on the ground if this is too intense, and just practice pushing back and then pulling forward. Or maybe you alternate between coming up, and then leaning forward and untucking the toes, pressing the tops of the foot down. And then lean back, starting to challenge the balance a little bit too. And then forward. And then maybe when you come forward and you press the tops of the feet down, maybe you press those feet so hard that you lift up the knees just about a ½ inch off the ground. So inhale, lean back, tuck your toes. Exhale, lift up. Inhale, screaming toe pose. Exhale, hovering tabletop. And then the next time that you fold your toes under, just take a little bit of time here. We're going to see if we can raise up so we're standing on our knees now with the toes still tucked under. Go ahead and inhale and circle sweep the arms up to the sky. Exhale, bring your hands to your lower back, your fingertips pointing down towards the floor, and see if you can pull your chest through, gaze slightly upward. We're finding a camel pose here. So a good stretch through the front of the body. And then we'll go ahead and lower down, lower the hands back to the ground. Toes are still tucked. We're going to push and lift the knees just about ½ inch. Feel the fire here. And then push the hips up and back, finding our down dog. So this may still be a very challenging shape for you. So remembering to bend your knees deeply and keep the heels lifted up. And really focus on pushing the ground away with the hands to create length in the spine. So we're going to practice moving between down dog and plank pose. So that would be inhaling forward to plank. So I'm pulling my chest forward. So now my chest is right in between my thumbs. My legs are straight. So from this plank pose, like the top of a push-up position, I'm pushing the ground away, really trying to get my chest as far from the ground as possible, and really tucking the hips under, squeezing the abdominal muscles, and then exhaling back to down dog. So a good way to modify this would be to lower the knees, lower the forearms, and find a dolphin pose. And from your dolphin pose, you could practice moving forward into a elbow plank. So pushing the hips up and then pulling yourself forward. So moving with your breath, taking about 2 more here. Inhaling to plank. Exhaling, down dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, down dog. Taking a break whenever you need, whenever you have too much pressure on your wrists, remembering to go back to child's pose, to go back to a position where you can rest and recover. So one more time, we're going to go forward to plank, and this time we're going to go down to forearm plank. So fingers are spread wide, and we're still pushing the ground away with our forearms. So trying to get the chest as far from the ground, we're rounding our back like we're in cat pose. Inhale, exhale, lower down. Taking a second to catch your breath here. So now we're going to press the tops of the feet into the mat, press the pelvis into the mat, and start to lift the chest, kind of like our cobra pose. So you can stay here, squeezing the shoulder blades together, or you can try to lift up the legs. So the back side of our core, our glutes, are really important for so much of yoga and for life. So if we just focus on the front side of our core, like doing sit-ups and planks, then that isn't really going to target everything. So staying here, or maybe reaching the fingertips back towards the back of the room. Inhale. Exhale, lower down. Wherever you are, we're gonna meet back in a down dog and then start to walk the hands towards the feet, finding your way to the back of the mat. You can move that towel out of the way if it's there. And from here, we're gonna find our Malasana squat. So with whatever modifications you need, that's the one where we try to sit down into a squat with our knees wide, our weight a little bit back towards our heel and our chest up. So great modifications for that are rolling up the back of your mat and putting your heels up on that roll, or putting a blanket, a folded towel in between your thighs and your shins, or just finding a place where you feel supported, maybe moving your arms onto your thighs. Just finding your breath here in your Malasana shape, whatever that may look like. And we're gonna practice crawling a little bit. So crawling is an excellent way to build up some functional and dynamic core strength. So I'm gonna lean forward, get my hands on the ground, and I'm gonna walk forward with my left foot and my right hand. Keeping the knees bent and the toes tucked under, we'll go forward, forward 4 times, and then we'll go back, back. So it's opposite arm, opposite leg. Pausing for just a second in each position. Forward, 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 back, 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 back. And the next time you're at the top of your mat, we'll go ahead and stop there. Walk yourself back to your Malasana, and then find a way to lower your seat down. Keeping your knees bent and your feet planted, try to root through your sit bones and find some length here. So knees are pointing up and you're grabbing from behind the back of each thigh. Staying here and trying to just keep that length in the spine, or maybe you lift your feet up. Maybe you squeeze your legs together. This is our boat pose. You can stay here, or you can reach your arms forward. Trying to pull your knees a little bit closer to your chest, squeezing your abdominal muscles. And you can stay here, or maybe practice straightening your legs, pointing your feet, squeezing your quads. And then lower back down, 1 vertebrae at a time, rolling onto your back. And then go ahead and bend your right knee a little more and straighten your left leg. Hands down by your sides. We're gonna lift up the left toes to point to the ceiling and then lower down. So as you lift your left leg, point your toes to the ceiling and then flex your foot as you lower down. So inhale, point your foot. Exhale, flex your foot. And the next time you lift up, we're gonna reach up doing like a sit-up, trying to reach for your ankle, and then hands go behind your head. Inhale, exhale. Try to touch your ankle. If you can't reach your foot or your ankle, then just reach for as high as you can. We're gonna do 4 more of these. And I like to inhale as I lower down, and exhale as I lift up. Last one. And then go ahead and swap it out. Straighten out that right leg and take a couple of just lifting the right leg, pointing on the way up, flexing on the way down. And then go ahead and sit up and reach for that ankle. Arms go overhead as the leg lowers down. Exhaling as you lift up, inhaling as you lower down. Trying to flex the foot as you lower down and point the foot as you raise up. That can be kind of hard to remember. Last one. And then go ahead and bend both knees. And start to push through your feet. We're almost there. We've got a couple more little pushes. Push through your feet and start to lift your hips up into a bridge. Maybe you just keep your arms down by your side, pressing into the ground, or maybe you interlace fingers underneath you. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Create a nice tall bridge. Chin slightly tucked. Gaze a little bit out in front. And stay here, or maybe you practice marching your left up, marching the right up. Taking a few marches here. We're going to count to 10. So this is 4, 5, 6. And don't let anything move except that leg that's moving. 8, 9, and 10. Go ahead and lower down one vertebrae at a time. And then squeeze both knees into your chest. Doing whatever feels good here, maybe taking some circles with the knees, massaging out the low back, switching directions of those circles. And then go ahead and bring the legs together. They're still up, and let the arms go out to a T. So we're going to practice letting our knees drop to one side with as much control as we can. So press the backs of the arms into the mat, palms facing up towards the ceiling, and start to slowly let the legs drop over to the right, aiming for the right wrist. Maybe gaze goes opposite. And just let your legs rest a little bit. Inhale. Exhale, start to pull your legs back to the middle using your obliques, using the strength of your core. Inhale. Let your knees drop very slowly over towards the left, aiming up for the left wrist. It's not going to touch the left wrist, but you can aim for it. And maybe you try to straighten out your right leg from here and see if you can tap your left fingers with your right toes. Maybe finding a little stretch here. Go ahead and inhale. Exhale. Let your knees go over to the right once more. Maybe straightening out that left leg and grabbing for the ball of the foot with the right fingers. Maybe gaze goes opposite. And then as you breathe out, let your legs go over to the left one more time. And grab for underneath both of your thighs. Maybe shift a little bit from side to side. And then extend your legs long, extend your arms. And one more breath together. Inhale. Exhale. Let it go. Let all that effort you put in just go and soak in the benefits of that practice. Feeling grateful, feeling thankful for yourself for putting in that work, and knowing that it's leading to you building up strength, growing a healthy, strong body, and setting the foundation for a practice that just keeps giving. We want to be able to be as safe in our practice as we can, and building that strength is a really important piece of that puzzle. And take some time here to just focus on the sound of your breath, or perhaps the sounds that are going on around you. Attaching no judgment to any sounds or anything. Perceiving without judging. acting without reacting, feeling without doing. Take as much time as you need. I want to thank you for sharing this practice with me today. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.